Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our October 2022 Google User Group meeting for GEG Ohio. So excited to be with you guys here today. Quick little housekeeping before we dive on into this. So this is our monthly Google Educator Group of Ohio meeting where we take a look at everything new in Google from the last month. We share Google tips and tricks and answer questions related to using Google tools in schools. Howdy, everybody. My name is Eric Kurtz. I'm a tech integration specialist here at Spark. Spark is the Stark Portage Area Computer Consortium. We're an information technology center that serves about 35 school districts up here in Northeast Ohio. I do have three other folks who help me out with GEG Ohio, my co-leaders. They may not all be able to be here today. It might be me flying solo. We'll see, but that's the beauty of having a team. There's always somebody who can help steer the ship. So if we don't get anybody else with me here today, no worries at all. Just be aware that I might have to keep an eye on the chat a little bit closer since I normally have somebody who assists me with that. And so if I'm a little delayed in responding to your question, please do not hesitate to put it back in the chat again if you do have questions. Even though this is GEG Ohio and I am from Ohio, you don't have to be from Ohio. We welcome anybody and everyone. If you have an interest in using Google tools in education, we are glad you are here. This is a public meeting open to anybody who shares that interest. We do have a resource document that hopefully everybody is jumping into. If not, I will direct you to that. I am going to go ahead and copy the link for this document, and I'm going to drop that into the chat there. So if you're watching the live YouTube chat and you haven't had a chance to pull up the document yet, please feel free to do so. If you're watching the recording of this in the future, I would definitely encourage you to follow along in the document. You can get there from our GEG Ohio website, which is at bit.ly/GEG Ohio. If you do head over to that GEG Ohio website, you will see we have a link there for our monthly meetings. And that's where you can get the link to the agenda document. Just scroll on down and you'll see here's today's meeting, October 26th, and the agenda link is right there. And that's the same thing for previous meetings as well. So you can always go back and catch the recorded videos and all of those resources that are there. Again, bit.ly/GEG Ohio will get you into that document. Now that document is editable. You're absolutely encouraged to add things to this. There's a couple of spots that probably make more sense than others. For example, there's a section called upcoming events. Hey, if you know about some conference or webinar or professional development opportunity that we don't have in the list here, please add that in. We would love to have that in there. Then another spot I say would definitely be a good spot to drop things in is in show and tell. If you go down a little further, we got a show and tell section where I share things, and then my co-leaders, Stephanie and Sarah and John, do as well. But there is also a GEG Ohio community show and tell section, which, hey, somebody is already typing away in there. So perfect. That's exactly what we want you to do. Please feel free to share your resources, ideas, tips, tricks, discoveries, whatever you might want to put in there. And then lastly, there is a Q&A section. And so this would be wonderful. And excellent. We've got people already typing in there as well. If you have a question for the group, please go ahead and throw that into the Q&A section. If you have an answer for somebody, please do that as well. I guarantee you among all the people that are here today, we've got a lot of folks that might be able to answer some of these questions. So please do help each other out here with not just the questions, but also the responses to those. All right. And of course, if you are with us live, you can use the YouTube chat. I am keeping an eye on that as best as I can. And I see we've got a lot of wonderful people here today. I'm seeing some representation from New Jersey, Massachusetts, Arizona, Georgia, Virginia. Here's an Ohio, another Ohio, Massachusetts, Wisconsin, California, New Jersey, another Ohio. Fantastic. So that is great that we have a lot of folks from from all over the place. Thank you for introducing yourself. I really appreciate you guys chatting in the YouTube chat there. All right. Well, hey, hopefully that gave everybody enough time to get settled in, to get the resource document pulled up and introduce yourself in the chat. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to do that. Let's get on into this meeting. So first thing we're going to do, we've done the welcome and introductions. By the way, like I said, Stephanie, John, and Sarah may not be able to be with me today, but I always want to give a big shout out to them. If you are not connected with them, please do so. Under the introductions, you'll see Twitter handles for Stephanie and for John and for Sarah. They are amazing educators. I could not do this without them. They are amazing supports for me as we do GEG Ohio. So even if they can't be with us here today in person, they're with us in spirit, and definitely do connect with them and the wonderful resources they share. Next up in the agenda are the important links. Really, the only thing that I'm going to point out to you, as I always do, is the sign-in form. So there is highlighted in green a quick Google form where you can sign in for attendance. What I do is I use this to generate certificates of attendance for you. So sometime between the ending of this meeting and the starting of the next one a month from now, I will go on into the spreadsheet. I'll run Autocrat and I'll generate certificates of attendance and send those out to you. So please do fill that out. Gives us a good idea where people are coming from, but also helps you to get your hours. Next up, group updates. We always like to remind you that there are great ways to stay plugged in between the meetings. Some of those could include our email group. We have a Google group that currently has almost 1,400 members. That's fantastic. And we also have a Facebook group as well. So feel free to join one, the other, both. Great way to ask questions, share resources, stay plugged in, stay connected in between the meetings with all these other amazing educators. All right, next up in our agenda, we've got our upcoming events. Not a whole lot on the list right here at the moment, but again, please feel free to throw things in here if you've got something to add to this. The first one was here last month. I left it on because of two reasons. One is it's still going on. This is a Teach and Learn with Chrome series that Google started at the start of October, and it runs through November 8th. So it's still going on right now. And so if you still want to see some of the live sessions, that's great, but they also recorded everything. Of course they did. So any of the sessions you may have missed, those are available as recordings as well. So you can sign up to get access to all of the announcements and the reminders, and also to be able to get to the previous recordings here. There's a lot of great sessions from Google here. Some of them are more IT related, others are more curricular related, but they all deal with using Chrome and Chromebooks and the tools that Google provides. They did add one new one to it, which is another reason I did bring this to our attention here. And that is they put a new one on, which was November 8th. That was not on there before. And this particular one is going to be a session where they're going to be explaining a new virtual course they're launching called Chromebooks for Educators. And so that one is coming up on Tuesday, November 8th. Again, just want to make sure you were aware if you had looked at the stuff before and did not realize, that has been added since. I wanted to make sure you did know about that. Google's doing a great job of creating more self-paced courses. This is another one on Chromebooks for Educators. Next up in upcoming events, two conferences, Ohio-related conferences. OETC, the Ohio Educational Technology Conference. This is, I think, year 25. That's amazing. And I'm pretty sure I've got some really old stuff from early years, back when it was the SchoolNet conference. I got a bag around here somewhere with the SchoolNet logo on it from when I attended, the conference way long ago. Save the date. It is going to be February 14th through 16th. We don't have a lot of details yet. So if you head out to the website, you're not going to find a lot there just yet. Be aware of that. That's okay. This is just a landing spot where details are going to come. So heads up. Those are going to be the dates. It is going to be in person at the Columbus Convention Center, which is wonderful. I look so forward to seeing folks there. Really excited about this. So hats off to the OETC people for helping pull that together for us this year. Not too long after that, in May, we've got the Ohio Google Summit that iTip puts on. Fantastic summit. Again, many years running. Absolutely love the iTip Ohio Google Summit. It pops back and forth between Kalahari in Sandusky, and the Ohio Student Union down, the Ohio State Student Union down in Columbus. This year, it will be in Sandusky at the Kalahari Convention Center, May 16th and 17th. And there is like a little pre-thing on the 15th. So that is, there's a couple of items going on there as well. So definitely get this on your radar too. And, you know, don't hold this against them. The only negative here is they have kind of questionable taste in their keynote. So yeah, this guy named Eric Kurtz is going to be doing the keynote. So again, don't hold that against them. There's probably a lot of other really good stuff going on. But yes, I am incredibly honored to be providing a keynote session for that conference. And of course, I'll be doing lots of breakout sessions as well. But just so I couldn't be more honored and pleased. So thank you to the iTip folks for trusting me and for allowing me to take a spot as a keynote presenter at this year's summit. So again, looking forward to seeing everybody at that. Very, very, very good. I did see, speaking of conferences, I did see somebody has added in ISTU. Thank you. I'm not aware of this one, so I'm going to have to take a look. It says just opened, free. Thank you so much. Again, not one I was aware of, so whoever added that in, I really appreciate you doing that. Please continue to do so if anybody wants to add other things in. I did see a pop-up in the chat. Somebody asked about FETC. That's the one that in the past has been typically in Florida. It's the Future of Educational Technology Conference, and it's going to be in New Orleans this year. And I did see that pop up in the chat, and somebody asked, are you presenting at FETC? If that is directed at me, Janelle, yes, I am at FETC this year. Probably the easiest thing would be to head over to my Control-Alt-Achieve site and look for my FETC post. So how fast can I find it? There it is. Okay. So back in September, I posted my FETC sessions. So yes, I will be at FETC in January. That is the 23rd through the 26th of January in New Orleans. And I'll be doing quite a number of sessions this year for FETC, Google Sheets and drawings and Chromebooks and primary students and slides and hipster Google and Google Screencast and so on. I will say the hipster Google one is going to be a lot of fun. I am not doing this one by myself. You see the word showdown. So my good friend Patrick is going to be joining me on this one. And we're going to be doing a battle of the beards because he's got a wonderful beard as well. So Pat and I are going to be doing a hipster Google showdown where we share some of our favorite lesser known Google tools. So that is definitely going to be a lot of fun with that. So that's FETC. And then next week, so I just saw somebody said, what about Georgia? Yes, that is correct. So if I pop open, I think October I shared that one. Yeah, I know it's sometimes hard to find things, and I'm probably looking right there. It is. I'll be at the at GAETC, so the Georgia Educational Technology Conference next week. Again, doing quite a large amount of sessions there as well. Slides and Google Docs and Chromebooks and Sheets, and I am doing a partnership with Schoolitics. They are awesome. Oh, I think I saw Anna on our chat here as well. So Schoolitics, if you guys aren't familiar with them, they're amazing. They provide a totally free product for teachers, and then they've got a paid version that can also be used for administrators and parents and students that allows you to analyze your Google Classroom content and data so much easier. So they're gonna be giving away a whole bunch of my books there. So really nice of them to be doing that. So they'll be hooking up with me there, and then I'm doing stuff on drawings and YouTube and Hipster and Google Tools to support all learners. I will be doing something with text help as well. We just don't have it on the post here yet, but I'll be doing a session with text help as well. So a lot of really neat stuff, a lot of really great stuff coming up. And oh, hey, thanks so much. Somebody also added in the Learn 21 COSIN conference, November 2nd and 3rd. So, oh yes, I do remember. Yeah, I will be at GATC. I'll be in Georgia. I was thinking, oh yeah, why am I not going to the Learn 21 conference? And I forgot. That's right. It was a conflict in dates this year. But again, cannot say enough positive things about Learn 21, an amazing organization with great leadership, always putting out a fantastic conference. Even though this one, sometimes people think, oh, this is more for like IT admins with the COSIN focus on it. It has an absolute, focus on curriculum as well. So you get a really nice blend there. You can go as an IT person, you can go as a curricular person as well. Shoo. All right. So a lot of good stuff there. Fantastic. So looking forward to all of those activities. Hey, if you guys are at any of these, please say hi. I'd love to see you in person rather than just talking to you through my computer here. So I do hope I get a chance to see some of you guys in person at these. All right. Well, let's keep on going. We're going to move into what is now the main portion of our meeting each month, which is what's new. Because yeah, that's the idea. I mean, Google is a moving target. We've said it many times. They're constantly adding new features and rolling out new updates, and you can get caught off guard. And we don't want that to be the case. We want you to be able to know here's what's new, so you can support your schools, you can support your teachers, you can support your students. If you're a tech trainer, if you're an educator, whatever the case might be, we want you to be able to stay up to date and on top of these things. So throughout the month, in between our meetings, we try to keep an eye out for anything new, and we drop it into our document. So here you can see we had just a little bit of stuff at the very tail end of September after our last meeting. And then of course, quite a number of things here throughout October. I am not going to go through all of these items. Instead, the ones that have the bolded date, those are the ones that I chose to pull out and highlight. So I'm going to be talking about the ones that have the bolding with the date. But if I skip something you care about, please let me know. If there's something you've got a question on, like if I don't talk about one of these and you want to have a discussion about it, throw that in the chat, let me know. Or of course, just investigate the links yourself as well. We do have links in here for all of these. I did do something different this time. I promised I would do this, and I finally got around to doing it, is I have added a key to the updates. And so what I'm going to try to do better about is indicating what tier these apply to, because there are 4 different tiers for education. There is the free version of the Google Suite, which is called Education Fundamentals. Everybody can have that. That's free. That's the classic, Google Suite, the Google Workspace experience for schools. But then there are 3 paid tiers, and many of you may be on one of these. So you've got Education Standard, which is going to add some, I would say, more back-end IT things, some, ability to have your IT folks doing some advanced searching and making some changes behind the scenes, more security related features. Then there's the teaching and learning upgrade, which focuses more on the curricular end of it. So this is more like originality reports, the ability to record Google Meets, a lot of those things that practice sets in Google Classroom, those sort of curricular upgrades. And then there's Education Plus, which puts both of those together. So at the county office that I work at Spark, at the Stark County Educational Service Center, we have Education Plus. And so I do get a chance to try out pretty much all of these tools as they are released, but I just decided to use these happy little emojis here. I hope I picked ones. I figured it's like the free fundamentals, that's just the building block, and then standard is the first time you have to pay. Teaching and learning is more curricular related, than Education Plus, I use the plus. So as you're looking down through there, if you see these icons next to things, I'm trying to indicate which ones are part of the paid versions and which ones everybody gets access to. Not everything that I do that with, because some of the things just anybody can use. They're not, it's not like that type of a feature, but anything where there was maybe a question or concern about it, I have tried to be more explicit with that. And I hope that is valuable for you guys. And if I missed something, let me know. Well, let's get on into this. Let's start running through these, and please let me know if you've got questions, comments. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of these new features. So the very first thing was at the tail end of September, Google launched a new course for educators called Google Tools for In-Person Learning. The link is in here if you would like to try this out. This is a self-paced, work on your own type of a course. Google's creating more and more of these for teachers and for educators, so you can work through these on your own when it works for you. The gist behind this course is, we all embraced a lot of technology during the pandemic, but now that we're back with in-person learning, there's certainly the concern that, we could let things, kind of go back to normal, so to speak. Maybe we were using a lot more technology when we had to do it, but now that we're back face to face, we're like, well, so what do I do now that I'm face to face with the students, that I don't need to use the Google Meet tools and things like that. So this is a course to try to encourage educators to think about, okay, well, what could we do? How could we use multimedia? How could we do, accessibility and accommodation tools to support individual needs? How could we encourage collaboration? Could we still use Meet in a face-to-face classroom? And so this is a course to allow you to start investigating some of those thoughts. So appreciate Google providing that. Next up, just a quick little one here at the start of October, Google Arts and Culture, which I love Google Arts and Culture. There's so many wonderful things. They launched a new experiment called In Rhythm of Nature. And so what this is just something to help you calm down, which we all need now and then. So this is a digital well-being experiment that combines nature and music with breathing exercises timed to flowers opening and closing. So if you head on over to the blog post, it'll tell you more about it, but there's also a link from there to go to the actual experiment. And when you get there and you launch it, we'll give this a moment to launch there. There we go. Hopefully this will come up pretty quickly. There it's coming up. And so basically what this does is it takes a look at what time your browser is set at. So it's knowing I'm on, 1:22 p.m. Eastern time. And it has different, colors and flowers and an experience based upon the time of day. But it gives you a chance to just relax, calm down, listen to some music, and maybe take a break. And so it did take it just a little bit of time to load that up, but hopefully now that has loaded up, I was going to try to make this little okay thing go away, but maybe it's not going to go away at the moment. That's okay. And so there we are. Hopefully you guys are hearing that. A little bit of nice music in the background. We got some flowers going here. There is a option to go more into a breathing exercise mode. If you click that at the bottom, it'll take us through some breathing in and breathing out. And of course, if you prefer a different flower and color scheme, you can move to the right or the left and jump through to the different hours of the day. So there's like 12 different scenes for the 12 different hours. So anyway, hey, nothing wrong with having something to help encourage us to take care of ourselves with a little bit of digital well-being in there. Good stuff. All right, next up, on October 11th, we got a bunch of stuff that got released, or I should say released, announced. A bunch of stuff got announced. So what I've done for this one, here's the blog post, and I'll go ahead and pop that open into a new tab over here, okay? And then you'll see what I did is I went through the blog post and I tried to pull out everything they mentioned in it because holy cow, there were a lot of updates. And I think a lot of this came from, I think it was their Google, was it their Google Next? Yes, it was their Google Cloud Next 22 conference. So they had, this is an annual thing they do. So these were like announcements from Cloud Next 22. And oh my gosh, there's just a bunch of them. There are so many in here. So I did my best to read through and try to pick out, okay, what's new for Meet? What's new for Chat? What's new for Drive? We're not going to go through every one of these in great detail, but I'm going to mention some that definitely caught my eye. Some of them are coming later. Some of them are rolling out right now. The ones that say resource link next to them, that typically means they're rolling out right now because in addition to this blog post, there's now a secondary blog post about just that particular thing saying, oh, and now we are rolling this out. So anyway, let's chat about some of the things to look forward to. So Google Meet was the first thing they talked about. And one of the first things they talked about is what they're calling Spotlight in slides. Now, this has not rolled out. They are saying it's going to be a private preview later this year. So all I have is this animation here. So I'll just open up the animation. I can't really do more than that for this one. But the idea is that when we are presenting a slideshow, in Google Meet, there's going to be the option to be able to put ourselves into it. Now, again, I'm not sure. I'd be curious to see how this works, but the ability while you're speaking live to basically superimpose yourself into there could be a neat way to, again, increase some engagement and some connection between you and your audience as you are presenting. So kind of curious to see how that's going to work with the speaker's video being directly placed into their content. Another thing they mentioned just was adaptive framing with some new cameras. The idea being that if you've got a camera in like a meeting room, it's going to be better. The AI is going to be better at realizing, oh, there's two people over here. Oh, this person's talking. Let me zoom in on them. Let me pan over to them. So just some, increased improvements in the cameras that will be available for conference rooms for Google Meet. Next up, meeting room check-in. All this means is that if you're in a meeting room, instead of being in a meet and it just says, oh, this camera or this meet window represents conference room 1, people that are in the conference room are going to be able to add their names to the conference room. So it won't just say, oh, this is conference room 1. You're like, oh, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so are in that. So it won't just be a generic name for the room, but you'll have a better idea of who's actually in that room participating in the meet. So that's nice. All right. A couple of these other things here now actually did get their own separate posts. So I'm going to pop back over here because the next couple of things, these are rolling out like right now. So, for example, the ability to assign a conference room to a breakout room, that is in the process of rolling out. What that basically means is if you're doing breakout rooms and you've got a room with people physically there, you can also put the physical room into a breakout room so that they can participate more easily, and not just the people that are connected individually. So that's nice. This next one, I can show you this one. So this one actually has rolled out. So the next one is automatic video framing in Google Meet. So here's the idea. Let's say, you're getting ready to do your Google Meet, and for whatever reason, you're not able to position yourself in the center of the camera. And now, of course, if you're at home, you probably can just move, your chair around, but maybe not. Maybe you're somewhere where you're in a conference room and you're not able to move in a way that gets the camera right on you. So this is an option that's built into Google Meet, where it can take a look at you and try to figure out where you're at and zoom right in on you. So let me show you that to you. If I go ahead and open up a new tab here, I'll bring up Google Meet and I'll do a new meeting. We'll just start an instant meeting here. I'm going to mute myself in that meeting though. Oh, you know what? Oh, I'm not going to, here, let me turn off my camera from Zoom. Yeah, it's mad because I'm using my camera in Zoom. So it's not going to, hold on. Let me see if I stop the video in Zoom, will it let me? Oh, come on. Oh, there it is. Yes, good. Okay. I wasn't sure if they would play nicely together or not there. So Zoom had to let go of the camera so Meet could grab it. Okay, fine. So here I am now. I'm pretty well centered here, but what if I wasn't? So I don't know. I'll move to this side. Let me go way over to the side here. So let's say for some reason I was forced to be sitting over here, and that's going to have me kind of off. So what I can do in Google Meet is if I go down to the little 3 dots button and I go up into the settings. In the settings, you've got audio settings, video settings, general settings, captions. Well, under video, there's an option here to adjust framing. So you see it says framing puts you in the center of the screen. Now it's turned off at the moment, but if I turn that on, I don't know how well you'll see in the background. So here I am in the background. As soon as I turn that on, it should change. So keep an eye on the background here. And is it figuring it out? I don't know. Oh, let me hit reframe just so it knows. Well, let me exit out of that. Oh, maybe it thinks I'm in a good spot. I'll go to this side instead. Let me come over here. Let me see it. I'll try it over here. I'm not sure. I was doing it earlier and it worked really well. So I'll try it again. So let me turn it off and back on. Oh, it moved a little bit. That wasn't much. Well, okay. So if you click the reframe button, every time I click it, yeah, you can see it jumping around a little. Actually, it's not that bad. So depending upon where I'm at, maybe if I was like way back here or something, I don't know where I would have to go for it to, but there you go. That one's a little bit better. So you see, in that case, it zoomed in on me. So for what it's worth, that's where it's at. It's under video, it's under framing, and you turn it on there. But here's the thing, folks. It's not automatic. Like it doesn't keep reframing you. So like if I turn it on, I move to the side and it follows me, boom, 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 boom. It doesn't track you. You literally have to hit reframe. And every time you hit reframe, it tries to figure out what's the best way to show you. So that's okay, but be aware it's not automatic. You'd have to keep hitting that button to reframe yourself again. Oh, well. Anyway, there we go. Let's go ahead and we will exit out of that. And I think for now, I'm not going to turn my camera back on Zoom just in case we need to do something like that again. Plus, I know it covers up part of the top corner. So if need be, I can turn that back on, but I'll just go ahead and leave my camera off for right now. Okay, excellent. Let's keep on going. What else popped up here recently in these updates? They also mentioned during their Next 22 that that we now have transcripts in Google Meet. And this is something they've been promising for quite a while. And again, do notice the icons. These are for the paid versions, okay? So this is for teaching and learning or plus, just like the video framing was teaching and learning or plus. So be aware of that. So what's this about, having automatic meeting transcripts? Well, the idea is basically that, and this one is not live. I tried it just this morning. It is still not live, but here's the gist. Basically, the idea is you would go into a Google Meet, you would click on the activities button, like where you go to do breakout rooms or polls or Q&A. Well, eventually when you click the activities button, there's going to be a transcript option, and you can click that to turn on transcription. And so basically everything that gets said gets transcribed. And when the meeting is over, what's going to happen is you will get an email saying, oh, hey, here's the transcription. It's basically a Google document that has everything everybody spoke all typed up in that document. Now, I think that's a great idea. I think that's fantastic. A lot of good things about being able to document everything that happens during a meeting. The only thing that I'm kind of sad about is the fact that they are having this be a paid feature. So you would have to have teaching and learning or plus. Well, remember though, I don't know how long ago was this. Let's see, when did I post this? Back in January of 2021, I had made a post about a free option for transcription, and this still works. So if you don't have the paid version, or if you don't want to wait for this to roll out, check out this. So this is a blog post I did almost 2 years ago now, and it talks about this totally free extension called Meet Transcript. There's a lot of these kind of extensions, but this one worked really well. I was super happy with this extension. Basically, you install this Chrome extension, start up your Google Meet, give it access to your drive, but that's it. It needs to be able to save, it needs to be able to save a Google document. So as soon as you've got it set up, you start up a Google Meet. And if you, turn on the Meet transcript tool, it will just start capturing everything that is said. So anything that would normally be like captions, anything people are speaking, it just starts creating a transcript. And so there's a Google document that it starts creating, and you don't even have to wait till the meeting's over. You can click on the button there and it will open up the live document as it's being created. It puts in a timestamp, it puts in who was speaking, it puts in what they said. There's also a screenshot button in it. You can just hit the screenshot button and it will take a screenshot of that moment and boop, drop it right into the transcript. And it doesn't just do transcripts, it also does anything in the chat. So if people are over here in the chat chatting, Guess what? Boop, it adds a chat portion to the bottom. And it's free. It's totally free. There's no gotchas, nothing. It's just free. That's awesome. So if you don't have the paid version, please feel free to continue to use Meet Transcript. It's an excellent extension, and I think that would be a great option for folks who may not have the other options there. All right, last thing with Google Meet was the ability to control your slides within Meet. Tried this one this morning too, and it is not live yet. So we're just going to take a look at the little animation here. So here's the idea. Let's say I am in a Google Meet, and let me zoom in a little bit more on this and make this a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. Okay, so I'm in a Google Meet, and I need to present a slideshow. Well, you know how that normally works. You say share, you share your screen, you pick the slideshow. And then basically you go over to your slideshow tab, and that's where you run your slideshow. And you're not focused on the Meet tab now. So if you have two screens, you probably put the slideshow on your second screen. If not, you're no longer seeing the Meet. You're just looking at your slideshow. Well, this option is going to allow you to, from a Google Meet, say I want to share a tab, choose your slideshow, it'll open it, but it will be interactive. It won't just be a picture of it there. You'll actually have controls inside of Google Meet to run the slideshow. So you don't have to leave the screen. You can still see all the people and all the chat, and you have total control over your slideshow. Ah, how nice. Again, it sounds like it's rolling out like now, but it's not live yet. I was not able to. I tried it on like 3 different accounts that I have, and it hasn't made it out to any of them just yet. So that's pretty cool. Like that. All right, guys, let me clean up a few of my tabs because I got way too much stuff opened up now. And let's see, was there anything beyond Meet from that? A couple of things. Yeah, we'll highlight a few of these, and then I'm going to pause and look at at the chat stream because I definitely see some activity over there. I want to see if there's something I've missed, questions or comments you guys have. So what else besides Meet did they announce at Next 22? So they did mention some updates to chat. One of them is the ability to have custom emojis in chat. So this is kind of cute. Basically, the idea that if you are here, let's get a better here. We'll do this one. This animation shows it better. So the idea is in chat, you'll be able to hit create under emojis, and you're going to be able to upload your own image as basically an emoji. So in this case, they chose the Nyan cat. And then you can name it just like you would name a normal emoji. And then anytime you want it, there'll be a custom emoji section, and you can grab that out of the custom emojis to drop it into your chat. Now, it's going to be organization wide. So if I create a custom emoji, anybody in my organization, anybody at the Stark County Educational Service Center would see that under the custom emojis, and administrators will have the ability to review the custom emojis and remove some of them if anything inappropriate somehow winds up in the custom emoji list there. But that's pretty clever. I like that. So it's going to allow a little bit more personalization when you're inside of Google Chat. So I thought that was kind of nifty. The other thing they did mention was having broadcast only chat. So right now, if you create a space in Google Chat, anybody who's in the space can obviously chat. I post something, somebody replies, and then somebody else replies. They're going to be adding a new version of spaces in Google Chat that can be just basically read only. So somebody can be the person who posts to it and everybody sees it, but they're not able to reply. So this could be good for like broad announcements that go across the entire organization. So that's kind of cool. Next up, Google Drive, getting some love here, getting some updates in Google Drive. So one of them is custom building blocks. You guys are probably familiar with the building blocks. So like if I head over to a new document here and I say I want to insert a building block, if I go to insert building blocks, we've got things like meeting notes, an email draft, a product roadmap, all this kind of stuff. So this is not new. We've had this. So if I say insert meeting notes, I could pick, a particular meeting that I've got to insert those in for, or I could say, let's just do a product, roadmap, boop, there it is. Well, that's nice. We've had that for a while. That's nothing new. What is new is we're going to be able to build your own custom building blocks. So what you can do is you can make one that fits a particular project you're working on. So it's going to have a table, maybe it's going to have check boxes, but it's going to be customized the way you want it to be. And then you can save that. So when you go to insert building blocks, in addition to the normal ones that we always have as options, there's going to be custom ones and you can reuse those in anything. So that's clever. I'm interested. What I want to see with something like that is how easy is it then for other people to use? Like if I create a Google document and then I push that document out through Google Classroom and I make a copy for each student, if I've made a custom building block, is it available for them too? So like, I'm just trying to think with the students, maybe we make a building block that is being used for a project or to, review a book or whatever the case might be. If there's a building block I make, how easy is it for me to let other people use the building block I made? That I'm not sure. Looks a little unknown right now, but let's keep our eyes open for that one. That should be interesting. And then this one, I'm really excited about. This is cool. Variables in Google Docs. So what do they mean by this? So what they mean is you're going to be able to drop in, it's going to probably be like with an @ symbol or something. I'm not sure what the syntax is going to be, but you're going to be able to use some special symbol and you're going to be able to drop variables, basically placeholders into a Google document, such as somebody's name or their phone number or their address. So you could make a Google Doc that is like a template and it says, "Dear first name, thanks so much for XYZ, this and that, and so forth." Okay. And the point is you could open up that template and you could say, I want to put in place of first name, I want to put Bob, and then Smith for the last name, and boop, it would go down through that document, and everywhere those show up, it would replace that variable, that placeholder, with that value. Now, certainly this sounds very much like mail merge. So if you've ever done anything with Autocrat using Google Sheets and Docs, absolutely sounds like mail merge, but it's built right in the docs. So we're just doing it right here as variables in the document. So again, I'm really curious, what could we do with this? I mean, certainly the low hanging fruit that comes to mind right away would be like, Mad Libs, something that we've, done in education for many, many years. But yeah, we could have a Google document that has a story, and then it has these variables holding the place for noun 1, noun 2, noun 3, adjective 1, adjective 2, adjective 3. And then you go in and you fill in what they should be, and boop, it pops them in there and it fills it out for you. So I don't know. I'm curious. Again, can't wait to get my hands on it early 2023. We should be able to see that. So that should be interesting. Okay. I think that's getting us close to the end of that particular post. There's a little bit more here. They did mention about how Google Sheets is now going to be supporting smart chips for documents and calendar details. So, and there is a separate post on this. So here it is. Yeah. So this is a separate post specifically on this, where they talk more about the ability to insert smart chips for documents and calendar events right into sheets, excuse me. So like if I have a Google Sheet here, so I'll just pull this sheet over. This is not real data. This is just pretend data here. So let's say I have this Google Sheet and I want to put in a link to a document. And let's say the document is my course syllabus. So and this is obviously just pretend stuff. So let's say I wanted to put this course syllabus into this. Well, by using the @ symbol, if I typed in @ and I start typing in syllabus, it will look through my files and say, oh, hey, you mean this course syllabus thing? And I could click on that and boom, there we go. I now have, a link to the course syllabus. If I click it, that would allow me to get over to it. So that's nice. Being able to build those directly into the spreadsheet is pretty nifty there. All right. And other than that, the last few things are more security type stuff. So neat, good stuff here: data loss prevention, trust rules in Drive, client-side encryption. The only thing that really caught my eye What's under integrations, it talks about APIs for Meet and Chat, and an add-on SDK for Meet as well. So what this is telling me is add-ons for Meet. Basically, we got add-ons for docs. If I go up to my extensions menu here and I go to add-ons, I can get add-ons for docs. We've got add-ons for docs. We've got add-ons for forms. We have add-ons for sheets. We have add-ons for slides. We have add-ons for Drive and Classroom and email and calendar. This is making it sound like we're going to be getting add-ons for Meet as well. So that was encouraging. Okay, I'm going to pause there. That was a lot of stuff. That was a whole bunch of stuff there. That was all just from that particular blog post. So let me close out of a bunch of tabs because I got way too many tabs open here. I think we can probably close out of a lot of these. Let's close out of all these tabs here. I think they can all go bye-bye. Okay, there we go. So we're just back to normal. There we go. We're going to keep on moving. There is more stuff to look at here, but let me just pause for a moment. Taking a look over at the chat, seeing if there's any questions or comments related to what we've seen so far. Let's see. There was a question. I wonder if the Google Meet tool will be, the Spotlight tool will be like Zoom, the Zoom and PowerPoint tool. I'm not familiar with that, so I'm not sure. That's interesting. I didn't know they had that. That's neat though. Let me see. Brenda says, this is delightful to see that things do not always work quite as expected, like the reframing tool during a live webinar. This gives me hope for the rest of us. Absolutely, Brenda. We just roll with it. That's what we do as educators. And that's important. It really is. If we as teachers worry that it has to go perfect, we're not going to take risks. We're not going to try new things with our students. And it's okay for things to go wrong. Not just that it's okay, it's actually good. And what I mean by that is it's a good time for you to model things for your students. We want them to be lifelong learners. We need to model being a lifelong learner. So if something goes wrong during, a class lesson, don't be embarrassed. Don't think you failed. Don't think that's a problem. Say, okay, guys, what should we do about this? Let's poke a stick at it. Let's learn. Let's figure out how to solve this. And basically, it gives you the chance to be an amazing model for your students on what learning is all about. That, hey, we're never done learning, and that's okay. So yeah, I'm totally with you there. Totally with you there. Seeing a lot of people saying this looks like a great feature, great feature, great feature. Peggy asked about the difference between add-ons and extensions. Absolutely, Peggy. Happy to take a quick moment and chat about that. It used to be a little bit easier, I think, to avoid the confusion. And I think Google, unfortunately, in their renaming of things, I think they complicated it a little bit. So we have add-ons and we have extensions, and they are certainly similar in that they both add extra features you normally would not have. An add-on does that, and so does an extension. The difference is a couple things. One is, where do you install them from? Where do you launch them from? And what are they able to run in? Those are kind of the three differences. So the first one, where do you find them? So to find an extension, you're going to the Chrome Web Store. So that's Chrome Web Store. So if I go to the Chrome Web Store, so it's chrome.google.com/web store. The Chrome Web Store is where you get extensions. Add-ons come from the Google Marketplace. Okay. Now you can get to them from the menu up here where you go to add-ons and you say get add-ons. This will open them up as well, but ultimately it's the Google Google Workspace Marketplace. And so if I open that up in its own window, it's workspace.google.com/marketplace. So this is the Chrome Web Store. This is for extensions. This is the marketplace. This is for add-ons. So that's difference number one, is where do you get them from if you want to install them? Totally different places. It's like, having an app store for your phone, yeah. So this one is for extensions. This one is for add-ons. So that's step one. The second difference is, where do they go after you install them. And that's another big difference as well. So if I install an extension from the Chrome Web Store, if I said, oh, I want to install Momentum, and I come here and I go, oh, we have an approved list. There's nothing wrong with Momentum. It just isn't on our approved list. That's why it says blocked. It just means it's not, we have not evaluated it and put it on our approved list for our folks. But if you come here and say you want to install an extension, they go in the top right-hand corner. So way up here, you'll see I've got Nimbus, I've got uBlock Origin, I've got LastPass. I also have an extension called Extensity, which is what I use to manage my extensions because I actually have all of these installed. I just don't want to have them all turned on at once. So like if I say, oh, hey, I need to use, Screencastify real quick, I can click on Extensity and turn Screencastify on. Or, oh, hey, I need to use Moat because I need to leave some voice comments or whatever the case. And so all of these little icons up here, those are my extensions. So that's where extensions go. Add-ons go in the tool they're being used for. So for documents, in Google Documents, if I click on the extensions menu, here are my add-ons. So these are a bunch of Google Docs add-ons. If I'm in Google Sheets, same idea. If I go to the extensions menu at the top and I go to the add-on section, that's where I can get add-ons. If I give it a moment to load them up, they're still coming. There we go. Here's all of my add-ons that I've installed for Sheets. And for the most part, that's the idea. That's where you're going to find them. You're going to find them inside of the tool they are being used for. The only oddball is Forms. Forms puts them in a weird place. So Forms puts them in a puzzle piece thing right here. So that's where the add-ons go. All the others, they come in this menu here, but for Forms, it puts it up there instead. So yeah, anyway. So the point is, where do you find them? That's one of the big differences. Extensions, top right-hand corner of Chrome. Add-ons are going to be launched from the menu of the tool you're inside of. So then the third and final difference would be how they are allowed to be used. So an extension typically can be used anywhere. If I'm in Chrome, it doesn't matter. If I want to do Screencastify, I can click Screencastify and I can use Screencastify. Okay, yeah, I'm using the free version here. Sorry, that's fine. It's no worries. I've got the paid version on my personal account. This is this was just the free version. So, but that's fine. If I click on Screencastify, I could record inside of Docs. I could record inside of Google Sheets. I could record on my Control-Alt-Achieve site. It doesn't matter. You can use these extensions anywhere that you want to use them inside of Chrome. Add-ons, no. Add-ons have to be used in the tool they were designed for. So if I go to extensions and add-ons, these are Docs add-ons, things like Doc Tools and Grammar and Spell Checker and Music Snippet and Word Cloud Generator. These only run inside of Docs. They're made for Docs. And inside of Sheets, if I go to my extensions and my add-ons, here's Autocrat. Autocrat is a Sheets thing. Or yet another mail merge. That's a Sheets add-on. Or if I'm in Google Forms, things like Doc Appender or Form Ranger or Advanced Summary. So they are specific for the tool. I think what Google did that confused people, and I don't know why they changed this menu to call it extensions, because these are extensions up here and all these are is add-ons. Now, I think they're thinking they're going to maybe consolidate some things, and maybe under extensions you'll have add-ons and something else. Like I guess you got AppScript. I just think that confused people, because why not just call this add-on? It used to be called add-ons. I wish they would have just left this menu add-ons so that it wasn't as confusing. Now, I have done a bunch of posts recently. If you guys are interested in add-ons, I've done quite a few recently where I tried to highlight some of my favorite add-ons. So if you look on Control-Alt-Achieve, I think I did one on Forms, one on Docs, and one on Slides. I still need to do my Sheets one, but like here's the one I did on Forms, and here's the one I did on Docs, and here's the one I did on Slides. So like basically I went through supercharging Forms with add-ons, supercharging Docs with add-ons, and supercharging Slides with add-ons. And so these are all just the last 2 months that I've done these. And basically I explain how to install the add-ons, but then I go through what are some of my favorites. And so in each case, I say, okay, here's some add-ons I like for forms. This is what they do. Here's how they work. So I go through a bunch of my recommended add-ons for forms, and then I do the same thing like for docs. So like, here's like, loads, like 17 or 18 add-ons that I like in docs. And then same thing for slides. Here's a whole bunch of my favorite slides add-ons. So anyway, that was a bit of a side tangent there, but it was a very good question, Peggy, and I appreciate you asking that, and I hope that is valuable for you guys. All right, good stuff. Okay, I see some people agreeing they should have just left it called add-ons. Yeah, if they're add-ons, don't call them extensions. Yeah. All right. Excellent. All right, good stuff. Oh, and Dan mentions that there's that Google Drive apps can add a lot of extra helpful features too. Yes, I did not mention the third type of tool. I will not do that. I won't go into that, but yes, there's add-ons, there's extensions, and there's apps. So yes, that's a whole separate thing as well, but we're just going to keep on moving. So let's keep on going. We do have a few more updates from the last month that weren't just part of that one massive blog post. So for example, another update was just a renaming of Google Data Studio. Now you may say, Eric, why is that worth taking the time to mention? Just because I think a lot of folks were concerned, and I want to alleviate that concern. So Google Data Studio is an incredibly powerful tool. It's one that I still have just scratched the surface of. I really need to spend a lot more time on it. I do know that Sarah Kiefer, one of the co-leaders here, she recently did a blog post where I believe she collaborated with Chris Smith, and he was helping her use Data Studio to do a project for her school. And I would absolutely encourage you to look that up. I'm probably not going to be able to find it fast enough. If Sarah was here, she could mention that. Probably, and I know she mentioned it in her, show and tell, her Tech You Can Do newsletter, but I'd have to go back and find it at some point. But she did a really nice blog post recently about Data Studio and how she was able to use it for this big project in her school district. Well, it is being renamed. It's being called Looker Studio now, which I just, understandably, people got concerned because they're like, oh, Data Studio is free. What's happening? Is this becoming something else? And so the important thing is to emphasize, nothing is changing with the normal Data Studio. It is still free. Everything that was part of Data Studio is now just called Looker Studio. The difference is they're also making a paid version, and the paid version of Looker Studio is going to have extra features above and beyond, but nothing's being taken away from Data Studio. It's just being called Looker Studio now. So just be aware of that. There's going to be a Looker Studio Pro, but no concerns that I'm aware of with other than the name change. So worth mentioning that. The next few we do not have to talk about because we already did. These were just the same blog posts here that I ended up adding as some additional resources on these because, the transcription and the smart chips and Google Sheets and all that. Okay, so that's not new stuff. We don't have to go into those. Next up, the ability to start a meeting from Jamboard. That's nice. If you have done this in Docs before, for example, like in Docs, I can click the little Google Meet button here and I can start a new meeting right from Google Docs. And we've been able to do that for Docs and slides and stuff like that. Well, now you can do it for Jamboard. So if I'm in Jamboard, I now have a little Google Meet button and I can launch a Google Meet from Jamboard. So nothing too crazy, but just wanted you to be aware of that. And again, oh my gosh, I have way too many tabs open again. It happens. It happens. All right. We'll just close all those out. Next up, let's see. Google has partnered with Khan Academy to launch a free internet safety course to help you stay secure, browse the web safely, blah, 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 blah. Awesome. So this link will take you out to this internet safety course. This is, again, a partnership between Khan Academy and Google. If you're looking for some good resources, if you're doing a digital citizenship type of activity or course or module as part of your instruction with your students, hey, here's another great set of resources. They've got loads and loads of videos here that they put together to walk students and you through things like keeping your devices safe and recognizing online scams, staying safe on the web, keeping your account safe, on and on down the line. So good stuff there. Let's see. We've already talked about that one. Oh, okay. Let's talk about this one real quick. The ability to configure policies using Google Groups. Now, this one is definitely more for your IT folks, but I want to take at least a moment to explain why it's important. Why did I take the time to bold this, to highlight this of configuring policies with Google Groups? So here's the idea. Inside the admin console, you can turn things on and off for, different students, like, oh, you're allowed to use this tool, you're allowed to use that tool, you're not allowed to use this tool or that tool. Normally, when you do this, we do it by what's called OU, organizational unit. And what that is, an organizational unit is typically like grade 3 or, classified staff or, temporary staff or high school students or whatever the case would be. An organizational unit holds typically a large amount of users that all fit in a category. Well, what if you wanted to micromanage things? What if you've got a couple of students who need access to an app or an extension that not everybody else needs access to? Maybe it's assistive technology. Maybe it's something that's for maybe a STEM class they're involved in. They need access to this additional extension that the other folks don't necessarily need access to. Well, in the past, we would have to move those students into their own organizational unit and then make the change and say, okay, in this special organizational unit that we're going to call Science Club, we're going to give them permission. But the problem is now we're moving them out of the one they were in, and now that's not good. So the new thing is you don't have to do that. You're now allowed to use Google Groups for permissions. So you can leave the kids right where they're at. The third graders and the fifth graders and the eighth graders can all stay in their organizational units, but now you could make a Google group called Science Club, and you could use that group to apply these new permissions. Awesome. So that's going to make it so much easier to be able to micromanage and give the appropriate students access to the tools they need while not, overwhelming everybody else with, why is this stuff popping up on my screen? I don't need these other things. So I thought that was nice. Good stuff. All right, next up. Google has launched a Chrome OS administrator certification program, and it is free for the next 12 months. So let's talk about that real quick. So this blog post will let you know a little bit more about this, that this is a new certification for Google Workspace admins, basically how to manage ChromeOS. So can you, configure ChromeOS policies? Can you go into the admin console and manage, Chromebooks and things related to that? Well, that's great. That's a good certification to have. Also to find out, are there areas that you're weak in that maybe you should learn more about? Awesome. Fantastic. So basically it is a 3-hour exam, 50 multiple choice questions and 30 hands-on lab questions. You get 90 minutes for each section. So an hour and a half for the multiple choice and an hour and a half for the hands-on lab questions. But for the next 12 months, they're waiving the fee. It's normally $125 for this. So no worries. As long as you do this over the next 12 months, you're able to do this for free. So I think that's a good one to get on your radar as a certification that you may want to chip off. All right, I think we're down to just a few more things in the updates before we wrap up this portion and move into show and tell. Just some small little updates. The ability to split table cells has now come to Google Docs. That's nice. So if I have a Google document, with a table in it, we did not used to have the ability to easily split cells. Now, we could kind of get creative and we could, merge some things and change the colors of the borders. And there were workarounds. But now if I just click inside of a cell and right click, I can choose split cell. And I can say, this particular cell should have 3 columns. Or this particular cell here, if I want to split it, it should have 2 rows. And how easy, how nice. So something that is just very, very useful to have that handy there. So we now do have that as part of Google Docs. Let's see, we already mentioned this one, presenting slides in Meet, so we can skip over that. Here we go, another mail merge topic. So this one's a little different than the one we saw with Google Docs. So remember, earlier I mentioned that this felt kind of mail mergey to me. I said up here that Google Docs is getting variables. So very mail merge feeling here. Very curious to see how that goes. Separate from that, Google announced merge tags in email. Now, this is only for Plus. Okay, so heads up, this is Education Plus. Here's what's going on. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I think it was just the last month or two. Google announced bulk mailing as part of Education Plus. Now, what I mean by bulk mailing, if you missed that, basically what it means is you could write a regular email and then you could say, I'm going to send this to up to 1,500 people. That was the cap. You could say, I'm going to send it to these, 250 people, these 500 people, whatever. And what it would do, instead of you having to just blind carbon copy them, if you did it in bulk send mode, it would literally send 500 separate copies of the email specifically to each person as if they were the only recipient. They would not get blind carbon copied on it. They would literally get the message from you to them. So it's more like, a personalized, newsletter, being sent right to them. So that's great, but it didn't have any personalization. Well, they have now. Well, it hasn't rolled out yet. I tried it. It's not available yet, but it's rolling out. You now can include merge tags. So what we mean by that is when you are writing your message. So here I am. I'm going to say, let's, turn on bulk mode. So this is what bulk mode looks like. In bulk mode now, I'm going to be able to click down here and I'll have merge tags. If I use the little @ symbol, I could say, hi, first name, last name. And then when I send the actual bulk message, it's still going to send, this same message to, all 1,000 people, but now it's going to actually insert their first name, their last name, their full name, or their email address anywhere in there. And so it becomes a much more personalized message. What this means is that this truly is mail merge at this point. We are now doing mail merge right inside. And, guys, that's something I've been dumbfounded that Google has not had a built-in mail merge tool. I mean, you think of Microsoft Word and Excel and Outlook, you've been able to do mail merge without extra tools with them for decades, it seems. Whereas here, I've had to use Autocrat. I've had to use yet another mail merge. I've had to use those kind of tools. And I love them. Don't get me wrong. Autocrat is the MVP. I use Autocrat every week in some way or another. And yet another mail merge is a wonderful Google Sheets add-on. Well, what we're looking at here is saying, okay, we're going to be able to start doing mail merge right inside of Gmail. And I say, well, Eric, that's just first name, last name. And that's not very robust. Well, hang tight because it says future updates will include custom mail merge tags from a spreadsheet. There you go. That's gonna be the clincher. They mentioned that. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Future releases will provide custom mail merge tags using spreadsheets. There you go. That is full mail merge. At that point, now we're pulling from a spreadsheet and we're actually doing mail merge. So I'm excited about that. I want to try this out. I want to compare it to Autocrat. I want to compare it to yet another mail merge. I am again saddened that it is only for paying customers. So if you want to learn how to do it for free, now guys, this is an old post. This is not a new post, but it hasn't changed, so it's still good. If we go to Autocrat, let's do a search here. There we go. So here is my post from 2016 on how to use Autocrat, but it hasn't changed. It's not broke. Don't fix it. It works. So let me put that in here. So we'll say, or for free users, well, actually for anybody, I should say, or for free, anyone can use Autocrat. And here's my blog post on that. All right. I also use yet another mail merge. That's one I really like a lot for more simple merging. Autocrat's for heavy duty, very configurable type of merging. The other one I use is called yet another mail merge, and it's an add-on for Google Sheets, and I like it a lot too. Whew. I think that's it. I think we did it. All right. I think we got to the end of the updates. Not too bad. We're about 10 minutes past the hour. Normally we try to make this the first half, and the second half gets into show and tell and Q&A. So we ran a little bit long on the updates. We are going to go ahead and move into show and tell and Q&A here next. But let's just pause there for a second and see, is there anything else that you guys have questions on, comments on, related to all of these updates that we have seen here? Let's look down the list here in the chat. See if there's anything I've missed there. A lot of people happy about the certification. I'm glad to see that. Yeah. All right. And then Kristen saying she loves Autocrat and Yam, yet another mail merge. Yep. Becky asked about the training on Autocrat. Yes, Becky. Yes, that's the one I would use. I would absolutely use this one. Again, it's old, but it hasn't changed. And that'll give you a real nice rundown. I think it's like a 30-minute video or something, like 27-minute video. And for this one, the example I use is merging certificates. You don't have to be merging certificates. That's just the example I used in the video, but you could merge anything. But all right, let's keep on going, guys. We're going to head into show and tell next. So show and tell is the portion of our meeting where we share cool things we've come across. I'm going to mention a few cool things that I've come across recently. I would definitely encourage you, if you have not signed up for Stephanie and Sarah's updates, please do so. Stephanie has a phenomenal Google group with just so many awesome people in there that share great ideas. They're so supportive and they're very sharing. That's an awesome group. And then also, Sarah with her weekly newsletter, she's always got a neat tip or trick in there. So please do check those out. And again, if you haven't added to our community section, we will take a look at that here in just a second. So please do continue to add to that. So what do I have in my show and tell for this month? Well, the first thing is I would remind you to consider signing up for my email newsletter. I do a weekly, same thing, just like Sarah and Stephanie. I also do an EdTech links of the week thing. So I do have a link here out to my newsletter. You can just sign up. I use MailChimp to do that. So you'll get a MailChimp verification from there, and that'll sign you up for my weekly newsletter. And then basically it looks a lot like this kind of stuff. So I cross post these to my blog as well. So when I send out the newsletter, what comes in the newsletter, I also cross post to the blog, but it's just, I think, convenient to get it as a newsletter. That way you don't forget about it. You don't have to think, oh, I got to go to the site. But basically what I try to do is I try to share about 5 new things that I found on the internet, and typically 2 things from my blog, and so, each week you're going to get this, newsletter that's going to say, oh, here's some really cool things I've come across recently, explaining what they are, how they work, and then I'll share a couple of things from my blog as well. So definitely check those out. What have I shared from my blog recently? Here's a few of the recent blog posts. The most recent one was some creative writing and publishing resources for you and your students. We just had National I don't remember what it's called, National Writing Day or something. And then November is National Writing, like Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, the National Month of Writing a Novel, however that is. That's coming out. And so I was kind of thinking about writing recently. And so I put together a blog post where I pulled a bunch of resources together here. There's a section on creative writing resources. So it's like blackout poetry and rebus stories and how to do student created storybooks and choose your own adventure stories and story cubes and just on down the line. So these are bunches of things I've done in the past, but I just put them all in one spot. Then I did a section on sharing and publishing, that after a student writes something amazing, how do you get it out into the world? So obviously we can just share it. But I also linked in a wonderful post from Meredith Akers. If you don't know Meredith, she's phenomenal. She's from down in Texas, I think in the Houston area. And she was like a tech coach. She's a building principal now, I believe. And she shares wonderful things. She did a great blog post on how to self-publish on Amazon for free. And she did that with a kids book that she created. And so if you want to put stuff, beyond just sharing it like a document, you actually want to, self-publish it for free through Amazon's KDP program. There you go. She's got all the directions there. And then the last thing I mentioned was to put it all together. My daughter recently did that through Amazon, and she published her second book called "This Book is a Little Bit Cheesy." She's amazing. She wrote this for her kids, my grandkids, Gavin and Morgan. They're 5 and 3. But my daughter Chrissy, she's an amazing illustrator and author. I mean, she did the whole thing. She painted all the backgrounds for all the pages. She hand drew, of course, all of the characters and the cute mice and stuff, and she wrote the story and did it with technology and published it through Amazon. So I went ahead and threw a link into that if you want to check out. This book is a little bit cheesy. It's all about learning about different types of cheeses. And so it's really cute. So anyway, so awesome stuff there. So anyway, that was my most recent blog post that I put out. I already mentioned this one, supercharging Google Forms with add-ons. That was one I put out this last month. Keep in mind, that's just one of those. I got supercharging Google Docs, Google Slides, and Google Forms. Still need to do the Google Sheets one. That's the next one on my list. I just haven't gotten around to updating that one lately. What else? iChart templates. Not sure what possessed me to do this. Sometimes I just do something a little different, but I was reading about the Snellen chart. I think I went down a rabbit hole and I learned about Herman Snellen, the Dutch ophthalmologist who developed the eye chart. And I thought, that would be a fun template. And so I made a Google Slides and Drawings template for eye charts. And so you can go in and change the text to make it something else, and so it could be all kinds of stuff. I think I did it could be an eye chart where students are writing about themselves. This could be like an SEL activity or getting to know you activity. So I am creative, hardworking, and thoughtful, and sometimes even a little funny. There you go. And so they could make an eye chart or a who am I chart where they pick a person from fiction or a real person or an animal or something, and they describe it and people have to guess, the who am I chart. So it's like discovered radium and polonium, treated tumors with radiation, won Nobel Prize. There we go. So that's Marie Curie. But anyway, that's an example. Or it could just be a fun quote. You could just use the eye chart to make a fun quote. So I think I said, if you're able to read this, be sure to thank your language arts teacher. There you go. Okay. Oh, I also did a pie chart because I just thought that was funny. I'm a bit of a nerd. Anyway, so that was one I shared recently. I did a webinar on mobile features for Google Classroom. And so there is a blog post for that one. I would definitely encourage you to check this out. It's about just a little under an hour, about a 48-minute long video. And it talks about using the mobile version of Classroom and all the awesome things you can do. If you're only using the web version of Classroom, you're missing out. You can use the mobile version on your phone, on a tablet, or a Chromebook. Chromebooks can run Android apps. And the mobile version lets you do so many cool things. There's digital handwriting built into it. You can use the camera for pictures and videos. It's got a scanning feature. There's the student selector to randomly pick students in class. It's got offline access. It's got some mobile notifications, lots of really neat things in there. So definitely check that out. If you're not using that, I definitely think students and teachers should use both. Use the web version of Classroom, but also use the mobile version, and that will take you through everything on that. With Halloween almost here, I did my annual Halloween post. This time I pulled together 4 of my Googley Halloween activities. I only had 3 in the past. I created a 4th one for this year. And so we have the famous Build a Jack-o'-lantern with Google Slides. That one's been around for a long time. I've got that one. We've got the Rebus Stories with Google Docs. That's a returning favorite as well. We've got Drag and Drop Poetry with Google Drawings. That's a favorite Halloween one. And then I added a new one. This is my new one for this year, Google Sheets. I did a Skittles and Google Sheets math activity. And there's a separate blog post on that as well. But what I am most proud of, honestly, I think the image I created for the blog post is the cutest thing I've ever made. I made the doc into a ghost and the sheet into a Frankenstein monster and the slides as a pumpkin and the drawings as a witch. I thought that was super cute. So that's what I was the most proud of. I had a lot of fun designing that. So that was a lot of fun. And then lastly, yeah, the actual Skittles one, that is its own separate blog post. Since that one is new, I went ahead and broke it out into its own post. Basically, you take a bag of Skittles and you're doing data analysis. So this is a spreadsheet that walks the students step by step by step through. They estimate how many Skittles they think are going to be in the bag. Then they open it up and they actually count it. And they find out, how close they were, and it uses conditional formatting to tell them, green if it's right, red if it's wrong. They then compare their Skittles, so they do greater than and less than for all the different colors. They add their Skittles, they add the different colors together. They divide their Skittles, they divide them into different groups, and they graph their Skittles. And every step along the way, it's using conditional formatting to tell them, oh, nope, that's not right. Yes, that's right. Or no, that's not. So it's just a fun, there's nothing new. I mean, we've done these Skittles activities forever, but what's different about it is using a spreadsheet to really hold their hand through the process. So as the students are doing the activity, I love the ability for conditional formatting to give them immediate feedback. Yes, that's right. No, it's not, and so it's a really good way to get that, that guided immediate feedback as they're completing the activity. So that's all of my new stuff from my blog. Some of the things I enjoyed over those last month, I have linked in. So it's things like a really cool Instagram template in Google Slides that I thought was pretty snazzy that I came across. Couple of neat extensions. Limit was a cool extension. This one allows you to set time limits for different websites and say, okay, I need to put a limit on how long I'm using, Twitter and Facebook and so forth. And it can let you know when you run out of time, helps, to block those distractions. So I thought that's a nice one to have. A couple other extensions. I'll come back to these. Readsy was another extension I saw recently. Readsy color codes your text on pages. So basically, if you got Readsy installed, you can pick these different color schemes, and you can say, I want my adjectives colored red and my nouns blue or something, or I just want keywords highlighted and things that aren't as important grayed out a little bit. And the idea is you then can, any article you're reading, if you click on Readsy, it'll go through and boop, it'll recolor it. And the point is it's meant to help people read quicker and be able to find key information and not get caught up in the stuff that's not as important in it. It's brand new. As you can see, there's 204 users. This is like a really new tool that's out there, but I came across it and started playing with it, and I was really impressed. I thought it did a really nice job. So one that I think is worth investigating. And then the other extension is called Wider Web. This was shared to me by an attendee. I was in Waco, Texas. So I was doing a training down at the Central Texas Google Summit, the Syntex Google Summit down in Waco. Amazing people, such nice people down there. They're doing a great job. One of the attendees in one of my sessions, I was talking about accessibility tools. She said, have you ever tried Wider Web? I said, no. So I looked at it. This is designed for people on the autism spectrum. And the idea behind this is it helps simplify the web experience. So there's a cleaned up interface. There's the ability to change the font. There's different color schemes, advertising removal. It blocks autoplay of video. It has audio volume reduction. So it's designed, again, for people on the autistic spectrum to help improve their web experience. Awesome, great stuff. So those were three extensions I've come across: Limit, Readsy, and Wider Web, that I thought were worth sharing. Other things that I thought were cool: Cloud Audio Recorder. This was a totally free web-based audio recorder. And, that's great. There's a lot of great ways to record your audio. This one is nice in the fact that it's just totally free, super simple, easy to use. You just hit start, you record yourself, boom. It just works in your browser, no problem. Here's what I really like about it, though, is when it's done, you can save it to your Google Drive. So if you're on a Chromebook or a Mac or PC, doesn't matter, you can record and not worry about saving it to your local hard drive and then trying to find it later. After you record, you can just hit save to Google Drive and boop, it'll just save the MP3 right to your drive. No limits, other than, you may run, it says, there's no recording time limit. You might run out of room, in your memory as you're trying to record, but sweet. I really liked that. So I tried it out and it worked really well. Lastly, nice collection of educational YouTube channels somebody shared, and then specifically on YouTube, I was really impressed with this channel. It's called Illustrate to Educate. I came across them. They've got loads of videos that talk about social studies topics, science topics, current events, technology, and they just do them in a really clear, understandable manner. It's a whiteboard type thing, so the guy's drawing on the whiteboard, but it's quick. They're short videos, and they do a really nice job explaining the concept. So I thought, hey, teachers may appreciate those. So that's it. That's a lot of that's my updates. Let's take a look at what you guys have been sharing here. So under the community show and tell, I do see, I think this is from Dan, I'm assuming. Dan shared this. His OER ebook is almost done. I remember Dan sharing this last time, and I was very excited to see this. And it looks like it's really coming along, Dan. So thank you again for the time you're taking to build this. I'm really looking forward to the final product and sharing it out with everybody. So this is great, Dan. And he's using Canva to create this as well. And Canva is an amazing product for that. I'm liking it, Dan. I'm really, really liking this. Thank you so much for sharing that. Somebody made a video about using VLOOKUP, which, VLOOKUP is amazing. I love VLOOKUP. Let's see. Let's pop that open real quick. And I will pause it for a second. Oh, that's from Dan as well. Thanks, Dan. Awesome. If you're not familiar with VLOOKUP, it's just a wonderful way to take data from one tab and pull it into another tab. So like if I had a tab with all of my students' ID numbers and their names and stuff, then I had another tab, which was the export of their state math test, and all it had was their ID. I could use VLOOKUP to say, take this ID, look in the other tab, find the ID, grab their name, and bring their name back over and put it in here. So it's a really great tool for that. Next up, if you're looking for a collaborative whiteboard tool that goes above and beyond Jamboard, check out Figma. Yes, Figma, absolutely. I've been having a great time with Figma. I did one little training on it for a group not too long ago here and really enjoyed it a lot. So we have Tom Mulaney has been putting together a really nice collection of videos to walk you through. Figma is free. There's no gotchas. There's nothing to, it's free for educators. It's completely free for educators and students. So schools can use it for free, the full pro version. Nothing's hidden. It's all there. It's all available. I know that Tom's been putting together, there you go. You got the links for getting verified. Perfect. Excellent. And I know you've got a really nice collection of videos that cover lots and lots of quick, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute videos all about how to use FigJam. So I'm assuming this is, if I head on out to there, yeah. So this is one of Tom's videos, but you can see the full video list has gotten very large. Excellent. Thanks for sharing that, Tom. Really appreciate that. And then Kristen says she has a recording of a session she did on Autocrat. Wonderful. Well, thanks. So please add that. I know there was a question about Autocrat from Becky asking you got my video, but now you've also got Kristen's here as well. Really appreciate you sharing that, Kristen. All right. Well, we're going to be heading into Q&A, which will be our last session. I'm going to pause again and look at the chat and see if we've missed anything else since then. Beth said she loved the eye chart activity. So I'm glad that was useful for you. That's great. And Kristen does like the Halloween icons. Thank you. I thought they were super cute. All right, good stuff. All right, so let's head on into our Q&A, our final part. And again, if there's anything else, you guys, this will be our last section of the meeting. If there's anything else you want to talk about, throw it in the chat, put it in the Q&A, add it to the other parts. We will do one more pass through the document, but this will be bringing us into our final portion here. So, all right. First question was about the iTip Ohio Summit, and are people from out of state allowed to present? This is a teacher from Western PA. And my response is yes. I don't have like an official word from iTip saying so, but we've had out of state presenters pretty much every year I've been there. John Sowash is a really good example. John's from Michigan, and he is a frequent presenter at the iTip Summit and does a great job sharing things. So I know we've had people outside of Ohio. The only thing on the presenter page it says is presenters must be employed by a K-12 school district or educational organization. So yeah, please, I would encourage you to consider sharing. I think that would be wonderful. It's a nice conference, and we would love to have you be a part of it. Next up, has anybody tried converting old computers and laptops to ChromeOS Flex? So I have, yes, I have. Let's see what the answer was here. We had old MacBooks turned into Chromebooks. It disables the camera, and then after 2 years, the Chromebook no longer updated, rendering them useless. So I'm not sure. I can't speak to that. I'm not sure about that comment about disabling the camera and then not getting updates. I'm not sure about that. So quick thing is, if you're not familiar with ChromeOS Flex, basically it's what used to be Cloud Ready. So there's a company called Neverware, and Neverware created Cloud Ready, and you could use it because Chrome is open source. I don't know if open source is the right word. Chrome OS is available to be used any way you want to. I guess open source, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but the point is, it is available to be used in many ways. And so Neverware created Cloud Ready, and you could install that using a USB key, like a little flash drive, onto an old laptop. And this was like 10 years ago. We've been doing this for a very long time. If I went to my Control-Alt-Achieve and I looked for Cloud Ready, I guarantee you it is not something new. This has been around 2016. Okay, so not quite that long, but still, what's that been? 6 years? Yeah, almost 7 years. So this was the post I did back in 2016 about using that. Well, Google bought Neverware. They bought the Cloud Ready tool, and they've turned it into ChromeOS Flex, and it works great. Yes, I have absolutely used this. So we had a bunch of old Windows laptops that were they were not usable really anymore. And they were set aside at work, where at the ESC where I work, they're pretty much set aside for what do we do with these? They're pretty much decommissioned. We're not able to use them anymore. They're just too old. So I said, well, let me try ChromeOS Flex on them. And so basically it's a pretty simple process. You put in a USB key on a computer, and you use the instructions from Google about generating the image with ChromeOS Flex, and it gets saved to the USB key. And then basically you just boot up the old laptop with the USB key stuck in it. Now, sometimes it will recognize the USB key right away. If it doesn't, you'll have to figure out what make and model of, is it a Lenovo or an Acer or an Asus? And you got to push the right, because usually there's like a key like the F2 or the F5 or the F10 key that when it's booting up, it'll let you choose how you want to boot up. And basically you have to tell it, I want you to boot from the USB key, not from the hard drive. And then once it boots up from the USB key, it'll load up ChromeOS Flex, and you can try it out. And if you like it, you can click the install button, and it will wipe your hard drive clean, and it'll put that on. And I did that for like 10 ancient Windows laptops, and they're good to go. They worked great. Everything worked. I tried out the camera. The camera worked fine. I did a Google Meet on them. And so it did not disable the camera on those. I had no problem using the camera. Everything functioned. So so in my experience, the ones I did it on, I did not have any negative consequences from it. So yeah, absolute big thumbs up from my experience with using. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I know I glossed over a little bit real quickly there about probably the most confusing things for people is being able to boot from the USB key, because when you start up a laptop, it's going to try to boot from your hard drive, and that's the most confusing thing, is pressing the correct F2, F5, F whatever key. People get a little scared going into the BIOS and changing the boot order and stuff like that, but it's not a problem. I mean, it's an old laptop. You're probably not going to break anything anyway. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk you through that a little bit more. Awesome. Somebody says they've got old Windows laptops that they're using it on. Love it. So glad to hear that. All right, next up, anyone having problems with Google profiles crashing with Windows with version 106? It happens as soon as sync is enabled. I have not. So I can't speak to that. Somebody says they're going to push out Chrome to desktops, but in light of this, I might wait. So I'm sorry, I do not have anything to add to that. I have not seen that issue. So if anybody does know about that, please do throw stuff into the document here. Next, are practice questions or practice sets in Classroom completely rolled out yet? Good question. I get a little confused sometimes because I was part of the beta. So like if I go to Classroom, I've seen them there for months. So if I go to Classroom and I go to the little button there, practice sets I've had them in my menu for a couple of months here. So I apologize. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's out of beta now and everybody's seeing it. The one thing that I couldn't get working the last time I tried it is I could go in and I could create a practice set with no problem. I could create it and use all the features in there to create it. I could even click try as a student and I could try it out to see what it's like for a student to go through it. I had no trouble with any of that. What I couldn't do is I couldn't assign it. That was grayed out for me. So I don't know if that's changed yet, but like if I go into a demo class here and I go to create an assignment and I go, oops, sorry about that. And I go to practice sets and I choose my practice set and I attach it. Maybe it's working now. Oh, okay. There you go. Last time this was grayed out. So this was maybe a week or two ago. It was like there, but you couldn't actually do the attaching. Cool. Maybe it's finally done. Let me hit assign. See if it yells at me. Who's in this class? Oh, I don't have any students in the class. Okay, well, that's fine. I was going to try it out. So yes, it does look like that is now. I could not get that far before. I was not able to hit the assign. I couldn't, it was like grayed out. I couldn't actually attach it and assign it. So yeah, it does look like it's ready to go, at least as far as that goes. John is in the chat remind you that you do need to have the paid version. Oh, no, I think you're speaking of something else, John. I'm sorry. I saw John was talking about Chrome upgrade license. Yep, John's talking about something else, but that made me think I should mention practice sets as part of the paid version of Google Workspace. So teaching and learning upgrade or education plus. Sorry, what John was talking about was managing the cloud ready stuff. So yes, if you use ChromeOS Flex and you turn an old Windows computer into a Chromebook, it is unmanaged. It's just like a personal Chromebook, unless you purchase the management licenses for them. And then, yes, you are allowed to manage those just like their Chromebooks. So sorry, I didn't mention that. Oh, Maria says, does it work on old Chromebooks? Now, Maria, that's the question right there. Maria was wondering if ChromeOS Flex works on old Chromebooks. I've tried because I've got old Chromebooks that don't get updates anymore. They stopped at a certain point. And I'm like, okay. So what if we put OS Flex on a Chromebook and then at least it'll still keep getting updates, Short answer is no. Short answer is no. Google does not support it. They do not permit it. They do not encourage it. They do not allow it. Long answer is, yeah, some people have done it, but it was really hard. Like I was reading these blog posts, people had to go in and physically open up the Chromebook and change a physical setting on the motherboard to allow the internal memory to be rewritten so that they could do that. So it was not just push a button kind of thing. I don't know, give it some more time and enough smart people may figure out a way to let us bring our old Chromebooks back to life. So there you go. That's kind of the idea right now. I will say one other thing though, real quick about Chromebooks, and maybe I should make a blog post about this. I doubt this is something that's novel. I'm sure everybody I'm speaking to right now already knows this, but we had a bunch of Chromebooks at one of our schools that hadn't been used, of course, over the summer. And some of them had not been used a little bit before that because of some various reasons. Maybe it was a repair needed done or XYZ. There were reasons they had not been used. Well, this summer was their end of updates. So June of 2022 was when, boop, that was it. That was the end. They were not going to get any more updates. Well, here's the problem. Okay, so these Chromebooks should have been getting updates all the way until June of 2022, which that would be version 103. That's version 103 of ChromeOS. But they weren't turned on in the summer, and they had not been turned on for a few months because of various reasons. So when they turned them back on, they were still on version 96. They were on an older version. And they went to update them and it said, sorry, you're past your update window. Even though they technically should have been able to get up to 103 in June, because June passed, they couldn't get any of the updates. Well, if that ever happens to you, basically what you need to do is you need to restore the Chromebook. And so using the tool you use is the Chrome Recovery Utility. So there is a extension called the Chrome Recovery Utility. It's a free extension from Google. And basically you put in, I don't have an SD card or a flash key with me right now, but you put in a flash key into your computer and you get going. It's just going to yell at me. Well, no, I guess it'll let me go this far. But what you can do is you can pick the model. So this was I think it was an Acer R11, I think it was an R11. I won't find it fast enough. It doesn't matter, but it was this one. It was the Spin. Maybe it was the Spin 11. No, it's the R11. There it is. It was the Acer R11. That was it. And so you can pick your Chromebook and hit continue, and it will build a version of it on that flash key that is as far as that Chromebook was allowed to go. So basically it makes a version 103 of ChromeOS for it. And then you go to your Chromebook, you pop it in, you do a a power wash thing where you say, I need to recover my Chromebook. You use that key and that USB flash drive, and boop, it reinstalls ChromeOS, but it gets it up to 103. So if it's one that is not getting any more updates because it's past its date, and you think, oh, shoot, I think we missed, or maybe you had them frozen, maybe because you were worried about state testing. That might have been what happened to them too. You could say, oh, we're worried about state testing, so we're going to lock these Chromebooks at version 97 or something like that. Well, you may be able to get 5, 6, 7 more versions out of it, but that's the trick. That's the way to get around it. So interesting. Wanted you to know that. I bet folks listening go, yeah, duh. We've all done that. But if not, I didn't know it. It was new to me. So if you have that same problem, be aware you can eke a few more versions out of a Chromebook by doing that. Awesome. Somebody, it's Griffith. It's Griffith. Eric Griffith said, will you be posing for selfies after your keynote, and what is the cost? Well, Mr. Griffith, they are always free and always available, except for you. They do cost. So yes, if you want to get a picture with me, bring your MasterCard, buddy. But otherwise, yes, I would always happy to chat with folks after any presentation. All right, good stuff, guys. It looks like we are at the end of our Q&A. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a quick wrap up and see, is there anything we missed? So as we start to pull things together and wrap things up, a couple of key things. Please remember that we do have a sign-in sheet or sign-in form. If you did not get a chance to sign in yet, page 2 of the agenda, highlighted in green, is the sign-in form. This allows us to send you a certificate of attendance for the session and helps us monitor the growth of the group and things like that. So please do sign in. Even if you watch this recorded, that's okay. If you're not watching live, you're still allowed to get a certificate. You took the time, you watched the meeting, no worries. So you can fill that out even if you're watching after the fact. Other quick things to remind you of would be our next meeting. And of course, I'll add this in here to the top of the document as well. But if you go to the GEG Ohio website, which remember is bit.ly/GEG Ohio, that's where you'll always see our meeting schedule. And so if you go to monthly meetings and scroll down, you'll see our next meeting is currently scheduled for November 30th. So be aware, sometimes we have to move those around. So always double check as we're getting closer to the meeting to make sure that date is still accurate. We're shooting for the last Wednesday of each month. So nothing in December for the holidays. We won't be doing anything there, but November 30th should be. We already have an agenda here as well. So you can open up that agenda if you want to already start putting stuff in it for next month. And there's the YouTube link, and there's the link to add it to your calendar. So that's already in there for you. Other than that, let's scroll down and see, is there anything that got added in? TCEA, yep, love the TCEA convention down in Austin. Phenomenal convention. Registration is open for that. Early bird pricing until early November. So thumbs up. I've been to TCEA one time. I would love to come back. So maybe sometime that'll work out in the future. I've only been to there once and I had a wonderful time. So that would be one I would love to return to in the future as well. Did anybody add anything else here? Nope. Do we have anything else in show and tell? Nope. And any more questions? I don't think so. I think that's it. I think they got them all in there. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the chat one more time. If anybody has anything else for the good of the cause, please feel free to share that in the chat. Eric Griffith realizes he was busted. Yes. Yes, he was. Yeah, that's the thing. Google tracks everything, buddy. It knows who you are. So, all right. Good stuff. Well, folks, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking so much time out of your day. I hope these are valuable meetings to you, that you're able to get a lot of great information to take back to your schools. Please continue to share, though, through our Google Educator, through our group, our GEG Ohio Google group, because I want to learn from you as well. And so please continue to share, ask questions through there. And I look forward to connecting with you guys at the end of November. Hopefully it won't just be me solo. You won't have to listen to me yammer away for 2 hours. Hopefully John, Sarah, Stephanie will be able to be here, because they have so many wonderful things to share as well. All right, guys, take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.